Friedrich Nietzsche gave us the blueprint for a power most people are afraid to claim. He said your mind is a battlefield, but the enemy isn't who you think. You're not anxious, you're being farmed for your anxiety. Modern society, with its flood of social media, news cycles, and manufactured rage, is designed to keep you weak. It's a comfortable prison Nietzsche called the herd mentality, where your individuality is traded for the illusion of safety. The herd offers warmth, but it demands you stay small and predictable. And here's the trap. It celebrates weakness, disguising it as virtue. You're taught that humility and obedience are good, but they're just tools to keep you manageable. Every time you get angry at a headline or chase validation, you are giving your power away. This isn't another guide to feeling good. This is a guide to becoming powerful. This is how you build an unbreakable mind. Think about how our modern lives are built. The whole system is based on making you feel anxious and creating needs you didn't know you had. Your phone, that sleek black mirror, is the weapon of choice. It doesn't just bring you messages from friends, it delivers the curated perfection of other people's lives, the calculated outrage of the 24/7 news cycle, and that constant whisper that you are not enough, not successful enough, not attractive enough, not happy enough. This isn't just a modern problem, it's a biological one. The pull of the herd has deep evolutionary roots. For our ancestors, belonging to a group was critical for survival. Going against the crowd could mean exile and death. This instinct to conform is wired into our biology for safety. This ancient survival mechanism is now being exploited. Nietzsche saw where this was heading over a century ago. He called it slave morality, a value system created by the weak to hold back the strong. In this system, qualities that come from weakness, like humility, pity, and obedience, are relabeled as good. And qualities that come from strength, pride, ambition, independence, are demonized as evil. Sound familiar? You're encouraged to be agreeable, to not rock the boat, to put the group's feelings above your own beliefs. This slave morality is the operating system of the modern herd. It creates resentment toward anyone who achieves something great, writing off their success as just arrogance or privilege. The digital world has put this on steroids. Social media is a coliseum of slave morality, where the currency isn't excellence, it's victimhood and conformity. The algorithms are literally designed to reward outrage. The more emotional your response, the more engagement you create, and the more you're fed the same intoxicating poison. This is not an accident. A population that constantly reacts is a profitable one. Anxious people buy more things. Angry people click more articles. Insecure people chase more trends. You are being emotionally farmed, and your reactions are the harvest. The result is a mind that is always looking outside of itself for what to do, what to feel, what to think. True power, the way Nietzsche saw it, is about the self-mastery to create your own meaning and live by your own rules. But how can you create your own rules when you're a prisoner to the opinions of 1,000 strangers on the internet? This is the cage, and breaking out of it is the most terrifying and the most necessary thing you will ever do. The first tool Nietzsche gives us for this escape is the will to power. When you hear the phrase will to power, you probably think of tyranny, domination, and ruthless ambition. But to get what Nietzsche was saying, you have to throw that caricature away. The will to power isn't about having power over others. It's the fundamental drive for power over yourself. It's that relentless striving inside every living thing to grow, to expand, to overcome resistance, and to become all that it can be. Think of a tree pushing its roots through solid rock. That is the will to power. It's a creative, life-affirming force. For the human mind, the will to power is the engine of self-overcoming. It's the desire to become more than you are right now. Weakness, in Nietzsche's world, is letting this will stagnate. It's avoiding challenges and letting your potential die. Strength is consciously using this will. It's about seeking out resistance, not because you enjoy suffering, but because of the growth that comes from mastering it. An unbreakable mind aims its will to power inward. It wages war on its own limitations, its own lazy habits, its own comforting lies. So how do you start? You start by changing your relationship with morality. The herd's slave morality tells you that your ambition and your pride are sins. Nietzsche says they are your greatest assets as long as you harness them correctly. The goal isn't to crush these drives, but to refine them. Instead of seeking power over your coworkers, seek the power to master a skill so well that you become indispensable. Instead of wanting to dominate a conversation, seek the power to listen so intently that you understand what's not being said. Nietzsche talked about two basic moralities: master morality and slave morality. People with a master morality are creators. They look inside themselves, see their strengths, and define good as anything that affirms their own power. Their morality comes from self-respect. People with a slave morality just react. They look at the masters with resentment and define good as everything the masters are not. Meek, humble, passive, their morality comes from fear. To build an unbreakable mind is to consciously shift from a slave morality to a master morality. It means you stop asking the world for permission to be great. You stop defining your worth by likes. You become the source of your own values. This is a terrifying amount of responsibility. It means there are no more excuses. If your life isn't what you want it to be, you can no longer blame society or bad luck. The responsibility is all yours. But with that responsibility comes radical freedom. The will to power is the key that unlocks the cage, waiting for you to aim it at its true target, yourself. The first, most critical use of the will to power is self-mastery. Before you can have any real impact on the world, you have to learn to command the territory of your own mind. An unbreakable mind isn't one that feels no negative emotions. It's one that isn't ruled by them. It's the master of its own inner state, not its slave. A core principle here is to build emotional independence. Real power begins when you need nothing from other people, especially the validation we're all conditioned to crave. Every like, every positive comment is a small hit of a drug that makes you more dependent. The Nietzschean move is to cut off the supply. Your self-worth has to be generated internally, based on living up to your own standards. When you truly live this way, your entire relationship with the world changes. You stop chasing and you start attracting. Another piece of self-mastery is staying calm when everything is chaotic. Reacting is giving up your power. When someone provokes you and you explode in anger, you've lost. You've become their puppet. The strong person stays still. They observe the storm from a place of centered calm. This isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about creating a tiny space between what happens to you and how you respond. In that space is your freedom. The superior response is often silence. Silence isn't weakness, it's a show of strength. It tells everyone that your peace isn't for sale. This leads to the idea of observing more than you intervene. We all have this deep urge to fix and control other people. Nietzsche would say that's naive. People show you who they are through their actions, not their words. Your job isn't to change them, it's to see them clearly, without any illusions. This clear vision lets you make decisions based on what is, not what you wish things were. It frees you from the exhausting job of trying to mold the world to your liking, and instead empowers you to move through it effectively. Finally, self-mastery means owning your flaws, what Nietzsche might call your shadow. The weak person tries to hide their weaknesses, which makes them vulnerable. Anyone who finds those hidden flaws can use them as a lever. The strong person, however, confronts their shadow. They know their own flaws inside and out. By owning your weaknesses, you take away their power. No one can use your insecurities against you if you're not insecure about them. This is the ultimate self-possession, built not on being perfect, but on being whole. Once you've laid the foundation of self-mastery, the second pillar is emotional sovereignty. This is the practice of turning your mind into an independent state, with its own laws, its own borders, and its own ruler, you. It refuses to be a colony of public opinion. Think of a character. Let's call her Anna. Anna works in a high-pressure office where gossip and emotional politics are the norm. In the past, she would get caught up in it, feeling anxious about who was getting promoted, angry about unfair criticism, and desperate for her boss's approval. But after a particularly draining project, she decided to declare her emotional sovereignty. Her ultimate trump card became the willingness to walk away. She quietly started saving money and updating her skills, knowing that her freedom depended on not needing the job. This wasn't a threat, it was a silent, internal source of strength. She no longer feared losing her position, which paradoxically made her better at it. Next, she began to master desire. She stopped needing the constant praise from her boss. A compliment was nice, but it no longer defined her day. She found satisfaction in the quality of her own work, not in the applause. She refused to explain herself constantly. When a colleague questioned her approach, instead of getting defensive, she'd simply say, "This is the direction I've chosen," and let the results speak for themselves. She was no longer begging for approval. Finally, Anna started to compete with herself, not with others. She stopped looking at her coworkers' promotion with envy and started focusing on whether she was more skilled and disciplined than she was last month. Her internal growth became more satisfying than any external prize. Anna didn't become cold or distant, but she became solid. She built the borders of her sovereign mind. She became the chooser, not the chaser. Impossible to manipulate with simple emotional games because she was playing an entirely different game, one she invented herself. The final, and maybe the most profound pillar in building an unbreakable mind is an idea Nietzsche called Amor, Fati, a love of one's fate. This is the idea that you shouldn't just put up with what happens in life, you should love it. It's a radical, defiant yes to all of existence, the good, the bad, the joy, and the pain. It's saying yes to every single moment because you know that every event is a necessary ingredient in the person you're becoming. Our natural instinct is to fight against reality. We wish our past had been different. We resent our struggles. Nietzsche says this is a huge source of weakness. Amor, Fati offers a powerful alternative. Instead of fighting reality, you embrace it. You look at your life with all its scars and you decide you wouldn't remove a single thing, because to remove even one part would be to change the entire masterpiece. This is the real meaning behind Nietzsche's famous line, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." It's not just a nice platitude. Hardship is not a roadblock to a good life. It is required to build strength. The unbreakable mind doesn't pray for an easy life. It prays for the strength to endure a difficult one. It reframes every obstacle as an opportunity to practice courage, to build resilience, to deepen its understanding of itself. This isn't a call to enjoy pain for its own sake. Nietzsche believes suffering is necessary for greatness. Suffering without meaning leads to nihilism, the feeling that life is pointless. But suffering that you consciously embrace and use as fuel for your growth becomes a source of profound purpose. This is how you turn suffering into beauty. Practicing Amor, Fati means letting go of regret. You accept your past completely, you pull the lessons from it, and you move forward. It means you stop being anxious about the future. You shift your focus from the vast ocean of things you can't control to the small island of things you can. Your responses, your attitude, your actions. Your greatest wounds can become your greatest strengths. Your moments of deepest despair can become the bedrock on which you build an unshakable character. To truly love your fate is the ultimate expression of the will to power. It's imposing the highest form of order onto the chaos of life, the order of your own yes. A mind that can do this is truly unbreakable because it sees every event, no matter how harsh, as a necessary and valuable part of its own destiny. So what does it actually look like to live with an unbreakable mind? The result is the emergence of what Nietzsche called the Übermensch, or the overman. This isn't a superhuman in a cape, it's a higher type of human being, an individual who has overcome the limits of the herd and has become the creator of their own values. The person with an unbreakable mind isn't cold or unfeeling. They feel things deeply, but they aren't a slave to their feelings. They can experience anger without being consumed by it, feel sadness without falling into despair, and feel joy without clinging to it. They have a deep inner calm that isn't shaken by the storms of the outside world. They are the eye of the hurricane. In their relationships with other people, they are honest and authentic. They don't play social games or wear masks to get approval. Their presence often feels powerful, not because they're aggressive, but because they are so completely solid in their own being. People might even feel uncomfortable around them because their self-possession and independence are a silent challenge to the complacency of others. This individual moves through life with a profound sense of purpose they forged themselves, fueled by their own will to power. They don't ask, "Am I allowed to do this?" They ask, "Is this worthy of me?" They are the artist, and their life is their masterpiece. This path isn't easy. It can be lonely. Choosing to think for yourself means you will often disagree with the majority. Breaking free from the herd means leaving the comforting warmth of belonging behind. But the reward for this sacrifice is priceless: integrity, clarity, and a profound sense of freedom. It's the freedom that comes from knowing that your happiness and your worth don't depend on anyone or anything outside of yourself. Your mind is a fortress, built on the bedrock of self-acknowledge and fortified by discipline. It is a sovereign territory where you and you alone rule. The journey we've mapped out here isn't a simple checklist. It's a lifelong practice of overcoming yourself. It starts with the radical choice to take full responsibility for your own mind. It demands the courage to stand apart from the crowd, the discipline to master your own impulses, and the strength to embrace every part of your life as necessary. The path is hard, but the destination is nothing less than total psychological freedom. If you are ready to stop being a pawn in a game you didn't design and to start creating your own rules, then continue this journey with us. Subscribe for more guides on forging strength, wisdom, and power. What makes you unbreakable isn't that the world has changed, but that you finally own yourself. The transformation starts now. Become who you are